making sure that we get to and from where we're going safely. It's troubled times, and a lot of time we think about the people who in our eye shots, the people who are right here, our family, our friends. But this issue going on right now is a universal thing. Everybody hurting right now. A lot of people losing jobs, a lot of people losing homes, a lot of people losing just revenue, a lot of people losing income, all kind of things. It's tough on a you one. Trust me, miserable out there in these streets. Jacqueline, how are you? And of course, as you see the thing, leadership and the curfew in Jamaica. There's a reason why this even became something that I wanted to talk about today. You know what I mean? As for those people who know me, the politics thing, I don't know. I leave it be. I don't like it. It doesn't matter where it's domestic, local, Jamaica, America, wherever. I don't. Politics thing ain't my thing. And I feel that way because it's not rooted in nobility. And I mean, those people who are politically inclined and love politics, there's a lot of people who chant politics on social media on a daily basis. You know, it's just a hobby. It's just a love. It's just something that interests them. Just like how some people love domino. You know what I mean? Some people love go dance. Some people love go strip club. Some people love politics. You know what I'm saying? Larger part of the broadcasters, the DJs, the creatives that keep us entertained during lockdown. You know something, Rick? Give thanks for that one day. How dare I forget that one right there? All right, the people out there that are the musicians, the artists, in a time when inspiration is so fleeting and so hard to come by, some people are staying inspired so that they can help to inspire us. The little things we take for granted, not you. When you turn on your radio or turn on your TV and whatever the case may be, and somebody comes on and helps you for a half an hour, 2 hours, whatever, through whatever trials and tribulations your day may be presenting to you, stop for a minute and think, damn, I'm sure they're going through some stuff too. You know what I mean? So again, big them all up. All right? All of the restaurateurs, for the people who can't cook, because enough of them can't cook out here in the streets, and enough of them burn up water out here. So for the people who can't cook, big up all the restaurants out there. Big up all the proprietors out there who making sure that, you know what I mean, good food and making them thing them people can eat. And a lot of the people who used to act like them can cook know that the spouse is home and sis say, nah, go that way. The thing's tough. You know what I mean? Things tough. You know what I'm saying? But we just gotta large up everybody, man. But again, from the I made a couple of phone calls, right? Because I hear a lot of chatter. We all hear it. I'm not hearing nothing that you're not hearing, right? I hear a lot of chatter about what's going on in Jamaica. And I always feel I'm a little torn all the time when it comes to responding to stuff like that. Mainly because oftentimes the chatter is not accurate. Especially when you are here. When you're here in the US and you listen to the chatter, what you hear is the chatter from our vantage point. It's like when, you know, you hear people up here saying, Jesus Christ, Jamaica, blah, blah, blah. And when you're depend, no, sir, Jamaica it's going up in flames, it's going up in smoke, everything gone. The nation has spontaneously combusted, it's erupting in flames, everybody gone. And you pick up the phone and call when I'm virgin and they're yo, King, you all right? And you hear music in the background that thump, doop, 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 doop. And you all right? But hold on, I can't hear you, hold on. Doop, 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 doop. And what go on? Then them go to a quiet zone and they're what go on, virgin? I end up on, my lord, where there? Where you at? Oh, I'm up on party up the road and things turn up. Them girl at like 10 fireside. Yo, me I tell you, thing turn up. What up, Keish? And that you hear in the background and I'm up on a what go on. Bro, I thought that the nation was burning down. I thought it was all abysmal. I thought everything was gone to the dogs. Man up on, oh, scene. Me don't know about that, still know what thing turn up. You know what I mean? So we're here, sometimes we panic over a lot of things and it's our vantage point. And a lot of times, you know, it go once a message reaches who it to reach and reach us, you know, it's completely changed. So I'm not saying that things aren't tough and things aren't going rough wherever, but we have a tendency to sensationalize a lot of things. Now, I heard a commentary from our Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, a.k.a. Bro God. You see, the thing with politics is this. Now, I remember when Andrew Holness won the election the first time and the second time around, and people were just like, oh my gosh, it's the second coming of Jaja. You know what I mean? People love him. Some people don't. And of course, like I said, the political thing, especially in Jamaica, it's not viewed based on logic. It's not rooted on logic and, you know, policies and whatever the case may be. It's based in tradition. Many people who support a political party support the political party because that's what their neighborhood supports. Many people who support a political party support a political party because that's what their parents supported. You know what I mean? Areas are considered, just like you have your red states and your blue states, right? It's tradition. People come up, they grow up into it, and no matter what happens, them still support the thing. It's almost like the home team. So the truth be told, sometimes it makes no sense for you to say anything otherwise because people hold on to what they hold on to, right? So first I hear, a lot of uproar about the curfew and a lot of people complaining about the curfew. I had some friends of mine, just showing some footages and stuff about the curfew and all them things going on in JA. And so I called and I spoke to a couple of people. I spoke to 2 people, 3 people to be exact. Spoke to one briefly. She was at work, so I spoke to her briefly. Another friend of mine, she was off for the day doing some personal stuff. Spoke to her, and then another brethren who doesn't really work, hasn't really worked in a long time. Just a do him thing, just a live. You know what I mean? And I'm good. And the perspectives of those people who were gainfully employed and involved in the regular system, and you know what I mean, earning that bread and paying the taxes and the this and the that, they had a different vantage point, they had a different view. So people did state that it's a challenge. It's a challenge because, you work during the week. Your employer is not necessarily going to cut their week or their work day short to facilitate you. So all the things that you generally put off, go on, Linus, for the weekend, what do you do now when you put them off for the weekend and you can't go about doing it on the weekend? You know what I mean? Got some flights, some people to go pick up at the airport and, you're running the risk and you're out there panicking, wondering if you're going to get pulled over, if it's going to be an issue. All kinds of things. But in terms of just conducting business, and for those people who only can find the time to go grocery shopping on the weekends, you know what I mean? And those people who generally have other things that they do on the weekends and their kids go to, Saturday classes or whatever the case may be, those people are affected tremendously. But I've spoken to, 2 of them. I could have spoken to more, but I said, let me just cut it short right now. So. And while they were, disappointed that they couldn't get to do what they did, they didn't sound bitter, they didn't sound upset, they just sound like it was inconveniencing them. And when asked their opinion pretty much was, as I feel the same, things are going on, pandemic is running rampant, people are dying, people are getting sick. As a leader, what do you do? Right? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't do anything and allow the people to run rampant and things get worse, then people say you're a bad leader because you didn't implement anything for the masses, right? Especially our people who love to point the finger at government when it's convenient, right? And then now, if the government does something, then we're a rebellious nature, so we don't want that. We don't want them to tell us what to do, want to restrict us from doing this and that. People can't go to the beach. You know what I mean? People say they might lose their mind. I don't know. You got your home and you're losing your mind at home. What's wrong with your family, man? That's where your issues lie. But different people have different views. So I decided to have the conversation also with a virgin of mine, let me say, not really doing much, doing this thing, you know what I mean? But not necessarily an employed fella. Doesn't necessarily have to worry about the bills like that and going to work, and doesn't have any children, so you don't have to worry about taking care of your kids and, you know what I mean, paying a mortgage and a car payment and all them things, right? And of all the people I spoke to, guess who was the most upset? The person who seemed to be the most inconvenienced. The person who take it the hardest and ready to riot because he has been so inconvenienced. The man that don't have a 9 to 5. The man that don't have, technically, any ardent responsibilities, right? Just a chill, you know, and get up today and just take off fresh and dress up nice and go out on the road and profile a little bit and see if you see 2 girls and ray. You know what I mean? My man's is upset. You know what I mean? And giving you the breakdown of what's going on and why things are the way, and what's it going to cost and what's it going to cause, and start to think, relate to you, all the people and the economies and the different things that are affected by this. Of course, none of them is his economy because he ain't really grinding, right? Again, that's my brethren, and he knows I'm going to talk about it, right? So, you know, you hear the mention of, okay, that it's killing such and such because the tourism industry and the other people, but your people don't work in the tourism industry, right? And that was just one of the straws that, dried. And I realized that sometimes we just have to pray for folks, hope for the best, wish for the best, and let it play out. Because same scenario, different people, different vantage points, right? Different views. And we, of course, sometimes we're on the outside looking in, and we want to personalize the thing, especially based on political affiliation. Here's the thing with politics, especially in a nation like JA. Anything that anybody opposes right now, they're really opposing from the government. Because if their political party was in office, they'd be riding with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. But at the end of the day, yes, these curfews and these things are going to have dire effect. No different from the lockdowns here. We call them different things, right? Curfew over this, a lockdown over here, it's the same stuff, right? So they're going to have dire effect economically. But sometimes you just got to do what you got to do if it's the only thing you can think of to prevent people from gathering in mass amounts and spreading it. And everybody's going to come up and say, well, no go so, no COVID, no this, no COVID, no that. Tell that to the person who just buried somebody who died from COVID, right? Before you start blurting that stuff, tell that to somebody who's burying somebody who died from COVID, right? So we have the people who, for their own reasons, are going to say, well, it's BS, it's conspiracy, and you may very well be right. But at the end of the day, you being the person in charge. Have you ever been the boss at work before? Have you ever been the supervisor at work before? You ever been, a manager, a regional manager, whatever the case may be? And the well-being of your staff, your employees, even some clients, customers, are in your hands, right? What happens when you make a decision or don't make a decision? If it plays out one way, people say, well, hey, that's why we brought him in. That's why we pay him the big bucks, because he's a smart guy and he's going to do the right stuff. If you do something and it don't work out, then what do they say? This dude's an idiot. I don't know why we pay him this money. It's the same thing with being a leader. You're going to have to make a decision. Uganda's in the building. Blessings, blessings, blessings. You're going to have to make a decision. And it's not going to anything outside of telling everybody what they want to hear, which you can't even do in your own household, yet alone for your entire nation. Anything outside of being able to do that, many people are going to be displeased, right? They're going to be highly displeased because of the fact that it just doesn't chime with their agenda. Man can't go away when you lock down the place, right? Man can't go on Dirty Fridays if they still keep that. You know what I mean? And they still keep them up there. You know what I mean? All white parties, party on the beach, you know what I mean? ATI, all them things. You can't go there so when the place locked down. So when you ask a question about, oh my gosh, the entertainment business, you know what I mean? You have somebody who going to say, well, it's shut down and I can't make revenue or whatever. That's the proprietors, People put on the events, artists, musicians, people who, sell commodities at the events and all them things. The whole economy that thrives off of it. The stores that sell clothes and all kind of things for people to get fly and go. When the economy is not rolling, everybody is suffering. But when I ask the question, who are the loudest people, are the people who upset or that are most upset about it, and who yelling the loudest is not the proprietors, is the people who want a party, right? I've spoken to people who generally are involved from that side of the business, right? Where they put on the events, and I'm like, yeah, I can understand you guys being totally affected, and they are, and it's not easy, it's not good. So I get it. But nobody creates an uproar and vexation like the person who you're stopping from going to go party. That person is upset. Bettina says, sometimes I see it for the war of this generation. My parents are born in the Second World War. My grandparents go through 2 world wars. They are going over a few years. True. Perspective is one thing, though. Like I said, it's one thing if your life and your well-being is dependent on it. And don't get me wrong, sanity is a thing that we have to hold on to tightly. And our mental health is precious. And it's something we also draw on as a nice scapegoat to, because I heard somebody say, well, people are cooped up and so forth. And for the mental this and that, it's not good, it's not good. They can't go nowhere. So you tell me, say, because you can't go a party, you're going to mad? How about you turn on the system at your house and you and your wife or you and your girl and your kids too, you, your girl and your kids just while out and have a good time. While out and have a good time. And I will say this, I do agree with those people whose sentiment are that there are some people who ain't got that situation going on. Those people who don't have the host, don't have the music in the backyard, don't have the food for grilling, whatever the case may be. So we're stopping them from toiling and doing what they do. But you know the truth too, if we're looking at both sides of the coin, truth is, they are probably one of the most susceptible parts of the populace to contract anything out there because they're not as sheltered, not as protected. They have to be out there hustling and bustling and sometimes just being out there because they ain't got inside to be. So they got to be outside. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing inside comfortable to hold them in there. So they got to be outside. So while we look at it from the standpoint of what are they going to do? I think we also have to look at it from a little bit of sometimes we got to save people from themselves. However, though, I think what some of our leadership lacks, I don't know, like I said, I don't know much about Jamaican politics, right? But I think something that one of our leader, or not one of, our leadership lacks is empathy. And there's a huge lacking in understanding people's plight and being empathetic and sympathetic to people. Sometimes they just don't know how to do that. And when I say just don't know how to do that, what I'm getting at is people come across as elitist a lot of times and just not caring. Now I listened to a short clip from the Prime Minister, and I have never heard anything so elitist sounding in my life, right? And I think that's one of the gripes that many have with him as a leader. So I want you to hear this.
We have to lock down because the persons who are going to the corner shop on a Sunday or a Saturday or
Hold on there.
whichever day to buy the 2 pound of rice, the big jar of oil, the half of bread and so forth, and the half of chicken or chicken parts or chicken back. Those persons are not wearing their masks. They are not social distancing. They may not get ill, but their grandmother or an older uncle would get ill.
Yeah.
And when they go to the hospital, there is no bed there for them or oxygen there for them. And then they go on social media and say, the government wicked, see what they are suffer.
So here's the thing with that, ladies and gentlemen. Truth to it, There's truth to that statement there. But here's the gripe for me, and I'm sure for many others. Listen to how this statement starts out. Listen how it starts out. You ready? Let's go.
We have to lock down because the persons who are going to the corner shop on a Sunday or a Saturday or whichever day to buy the 2 pound of rice, the big jar of oil, the half of bread and so forth, and the half of chicken or chicken parts or chicken back. Those persons are not wearing their masks.
All right. So that part of the conversation is, again, I 100% agree. 100% agree in terms of, again, you're the leader of the nation. What you have to do something, and the populace is always going to complain, right? Again, some people going to complain because of the fact that you stop them from go party. Some people going to complain because you stop them from earning. But if you let them run rampant and people die, then people are going to complain that the leadership never protected them too. You understand me? So from that vantage point, I am totally I'm in agreement. If I was leading, it's a job I would not want. But if I was the leader, I'm going to have to find a way to protect the masses. You don't have 100% faith in the technology. You don't have 100% faith in the medicine and the clinical approach because you don't really know. They don't really know. Vaccines are coming out right about now and it's still research going on. So there's a lot of things going on that we don't know. So as a leader, what do? You have to find some form of measure, right? And you have to separate the masses if it is a disease that's spread from contact. You have to separate the masses, right? So the leader does what they have to do. Because again, we play the results. If the end result is great, then he's a genius. If it's not, then he's an idiot, right? That's how we look at it. We're Monday morning quarterbacks. We don't have to be in there making the decision, so we can say anything will come out of our mouth, right? So I have a big gripe with people who just bash our leadership for making decisions, primarily because the decisions don't suit their agenda. But the complaint that massive people have is the elitism in the approach, right? Why not just mention the people? People are out there doing what they do without masks. When I spoke to a couple of people in Jamaica too, about that video clip and that message, the problem is it segments the people, right? It's a matter of you're relegating your ideas and your ideals to a certain part of the population, poor people, as though they are the ones doing it, right? I've seen videos and clips of people. Mark you, most of the major supermarkets and stuff like that, they implement the mask processes. But you still see places and people in affluent areas that are not doing it. Why speak of the people who are gonna buy chicken back and the people who are gonna buy half a bread and the people who are gonna buy big jilla oil and the people who are gonna buy chicken? You know, that pretty much is the issue that most people had with that video, is that you've now targeted a certain sector of the society. You lead an entire nation, you know. But the elitism thing is an issue. And I've always asked people, I heard people before when the Prime Minister was elected, some people are happy and some people no aren't. And you speak, why? And people mention that there's a little detachment. You know what I mean? When people can't understand the plight of certain parts of society, they really don't know how to respond. We've seen it here also in the US. If you can't relate and certain things don't resonate with you, you're just going off of what's on paper and what somebody tells you. And those kind of tones and sentiments, to me, pretty much support that elitism ideal. Pedro, all gone, brother. I feel you. You say 100% right, not true. Right to me, the decisions being made, I got no problem with the decisions. I agree with you that way. The way how things are done and the approach and the way how I deal with people. Because here's at the end of the day, you know, some folks come up from the bottom and when they reach the top, they look down on the bottom. Some people were never at the bottom, so they don't understand. And some people actually, it's not a matter of not understanding, they just don't care, right? I agree with the folks who have a problem with you isolating your comments to and for the poor people. EK says some people just complain about the government no matter what. You're so right. Government and complain about everything. I know people who complain if the sun rise. I know people complain if the sun don't rise. I know people who complain if it rains. I know people who complain if it don't rain. And they are normally one and the same people. All right? If the wind blows to the left, you know what I mean? If the wind blows to the left, them complain about that. If it blows to the right, them complain about that too. But at the end of the day, you know, people are affected. People are affected by these things, and we can't ignore that. Julian says, let me see here what Julian says. Babylon said, no, G-Code, they can't talk about them thing there. So when he sends his assistant out to go shopping for his groceries, does he assure that they are wearing a mask? Oh, sorry. He's not sending them out for chicken back. He's not sending them out for a chicken back and white rice. So right there, he's saying that's a segment of people that he's talking about, right? Blessings, Hal Anthony. I think these people hadn't one person in there near who had COVID really or died from it. You're so right. Well, you said, Pedro, you don't think he was being elitist? I do. I personally, I do. And again, like I said, some people are wearing masks, some people are not, right? But I see people in the affluent areas not wearing masks too. Pedro said the small people are the one that needs the protection from the mask. Exactly. That is true. All right. I am homesick with the coronavirus right now. Brother, you get well soon. A party, not true. Pedro, you did go the Dirty Fridays, not true. I joke, my make. my brother, prayers, thoughts, up on your feet. Don't say you're a bounce back kid anyway. Ain't gonna hold you down. You know what I mean? But you're absolutely right. And like I said earlier, a lot of the folks who don't have, as I speak of, if you have the opportunity to stay home, like you're home right now. With the situation going on right now, you stay home, rest up, be safe as you possibly can. But then there are some people who don't have the comforts that we have. And yes, they're the voices out there saying, well, you're locking us up, we can't do this and that. Like I mentioned earlier, they're the most vulnerable too. Because one, they can't necessarily afford certain type of healthcare that other people can. Right? They also are more exposed because they can't afford all the PPE and the protection and all that stuff. But again, double-edged sword. Leadership is put in a position where it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. If they implement the measures for people to stay home to protect the people complain. Right? If they decide I'm going to free up the things so people can go do what they want to do, as people start getting sick, people complain. Because here's the deal. If they free up these things and the man that says I can't afford this and I can't afford that and you lock me up, gets sick, it's way more likely that the damage is going to be more severe on his end. Because also remember, a lot of the poorer folks don't live in massive structures where you can go quarantine over the left wing and she quarantine over the right wing. No, you're in that small structure together. So if you're living in circumstances like those, it's highly likely that if one person get it, many will. But my thing pretty much is, for those people who say, nah, brother, you deal with the people in my way, I see clip where the tone is a little insensitive. There are different ways you can do it. It's no different from when we saw some insensitivity with our last leader here. There are different ways to go about it, Me never liked that statement there. And there's nothing more to me that's more of a waste than having a true and powerful, accurate statement tainted with your own personal agendas. You know what I mean? How much time you hear somebody saying something that is gospel, and right before them finish speaking, then says something, you're like, damn, you had to say that. Now you messed it up. Or somebody starts out saying something a certain way and just ignore him from there on because, I can't believe you said that. But then the rest of what he's saying or she's saying is perfectly true. That's why the title says Leadership and the Curfew in Jamaica. Do we need some leadership courses? And I know a lot of time we look at it and say, we're leaders and they're our best and our brightest. Not necessarily so, Sometimes we need some courses, some training in leadership and sensitivity. I think we do. I think the whole nation, the whole world right now is going through a lot, right? Some people act as though this thing ain't real. I can't share that sentiment because I know people who have been knocked down because of COVID. And while I'm eternally blessed to not have an immediate member of my family pass from it, there are people I know who have family members who have passed from it. So you will tell them, say, you stifle them and you keep them locked up and you need to free up the thing or whatever the case may be. Tell that to the person who has lost someone. And again, the unfortunate thing about everything that goes on right now is that don't you wish that, when we were kids growing up, we used to say, you're lucky God not stay like man. If there was any way for just the risky people who just don't give a damn and want to roll around, if you catch it and I give it to nobody else, wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something? Because just say government and citizens must work together to create a safe environment. People are dying. Don't forget the partner. People are dying. People are dying left and right. It's not a joke. One life to live. Everybody must think about the life. You know what I'm saying? Pedro said, they will thank the Prime Minister later. Let's see what hold on there. We got the things coming in. He's just saying it so the common people can understand. Boy, I'm not knowing Pedro. The people will not thank him later. You know why they're not going to thank him later? It's just not in their nature, baby. It's not in their nature to do that. All right? The line is down the middle already. Some people say yeah, some people say nay. Because most of the people right now who are fireborn the Prime Minister, they not fireborn him a couple months ago. You know what I mean? It's just that things are going on right about now that they don't like. Right? Wall Street says, see him so him said bitter medicine and sink himself the first time. Oh, Lord, it gets political now. You see you Wall Street, you're not easy, You know what? We got a schedule to have you on here, because you're thing them, you don't know the things set apart. Leela says, please stay safe, maintain 6 feet apart distances and wear your mask. You're right. Thank you so much, Leela. And that's the reason why a lot of people call me and say, hey, can we come in and do it? And if I can avoid it, I do. I'd rather do, I was never a fan of the virtual things, but now I'm doing the virtual shows. On rare occasions, we'll have somebody in here, but I can move the cameras and do whatever we need to do to keep us 6, 7, 8 feet apart, and we do what we do, right? But for the most part, virtual it is, or on the phone it is. We have to do what we have to do. Again, everything we most times people take for granted until it drops on their doorstep. Certain drug issues that came up was never a problem until it dropped on their doorstep. All right? Violence in the community was never a problem until it dropped on their doorstep. If this corona was relegated to just poor places, it wouldn't have been an issue. No place wouldn't lock down. It affects everybody. No respect, no prejudice for whom it affects. So again, I'm not the leader. It's a job that had it been given to me today, I would turn it down. I don't care what it pays. I'm turning it down. Because you can't win. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. Do what you got to do to protect your people. But remember that all the people are your people. All right? You can't talk down to some people. All right? Because again, certain things are going everywhere. Wall Street said that's a direct attack on the poorer class. Wall Street. You know, I said that 3 months ago, you know, Wall Street. You know what I mean? Different thing. We're going to get you on for your show and give you an opportunity for us to talk about it. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my time, and I want to thank y'all so much, man. Big time, big time, big time. I appreciate y'all. Again, it's just reasoning. And, you know, a lot of times I try to avoid these kind of conversations, but they come up and people want to hear about them, and people say, hey, what's the deal with this? And we got to touch the topic. All right. So again, for those people who are under curfew right now, nothing lasts forever. To be honest with you, boy, maybe my employees will hear this, but it is what it is. Shoot, I wouldn't mind if let me not say that. That might be selfish. I was gonna say I don't mind if it shuts down a bit so that people can just process, reevaluate, do what I'm off to do. Sometimes we got to slow down. We're moving too fast and we're moving too reckless. But then it's a challenge for me to say that with a straight face, because there are some people who don't have measures implemented to keep them sustained during this period of time. You know what I mean? So I can't be selfish about it. While some people may have the comforts of home to stay home in and, you know, enough in that emergency fund and that little nest egg and so forth to keep them going, some people don't. But again, before we close that statement with a period, let's just make it a comma now, all right? Let's conjunctionize the thing. I say, those people are also the most vulnerable, all right? If you ain't got the money, you ain't got the health insurance, you ain't got this, you ain't got that, automatically you're at the back of the line. We've always had the complaints and said, well, as poor people, they treat us the worst. We're at the back of the line when it comes to health, we're at the back of the line when it comes to health care and health insurance and finances and all them things, which is true, right? Then now ain't the time for you to be getting sick. Hunger one thing, when I say starvation. Hunger, right, is one thing. Death is another, right? The party that you're trying to reach, because remember, as I talked to a lot of people, the people who are the most frustrated are not necessarily the poor. Because this come up all the time, and all the poor class of people want to struggle and this and that. But the people who I hear the loudest are not the people who are trying to go out there to make a dollar. Yes, they are upset too. But it's the people who feel like them freedom to go party and go tear up Miami for spring break is being encroached upon. At them vexing them. Right? Simple math. $40 for getting to the venue. Drinks and food in there. You spend $200 for the night. Have a good time. Come home, right? Bring home a virus to some members of your family. Cost them $30,000 in healthcare and medical bills, right? Lose one or two. Cost them another 30 grand a pop in funeral expenses, right? Do the math. 200. You just want to go spend $200 and have a good time. Now you're costing people their lives, their future, and their economical viability. Is it really worth it? Don't you wish you could do the Back to the Future joint where you take somebody in the future and show them what could possibly happen? And then bring them back and say, so now make the same decision. Wouldn't that be something? Lionel says it's called entitlement. It is true. It's been there from the beginning of time, and it ain't going anywhere anytime soon. All I can say is each one reach one, each one teach one, do what you've got to do. I can't control what anybody does. All the people reach out, and again, no disrespect, it is what it is. All the folks that reach out and say, yo, want to come in the studio, come do an interview. I can't control what you do out there. But guess what I can control? Who rolls up in here, right? That's all I need to be responsible for. All right? DJ Lance, blessings, blessings, blessings. And again, ladies and gentlemen, we're just dropping some jewels, dropping some, it's conversation that come up. And we just want to make sure that, in the words of a former teacher of mine, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. You know what I'm saying? You understand? Let's roll out of here.